Yellow, it's another week of the Future of Business podcast brought to you by MTN Business. I'm your host, Nombendula Shongwe. On today's interesting topic, we have Mr. Sam Shongwe, who is the CEO of MTN Fintech Services. Welcome.
Thank you, Nombendula.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. So Mr. Sam Shongwe has been in the telco business for over 20 years and actually was at the inception of mobile money at maybe 2011. So it's been over 10 years of celebrating MoMo. Our topic for today is business acceleration through e-commerce and what MoMo can do. So last year we just celebrated 10 years of mobile money. And of course, that is looking at the milestones that we've achieved, looking at MoMo and how it has changed the landscape of doing business and transactions in Eswatini. So from MoMo Pay to transfer, as well as MTN MoMo business. So I'd like us to just tell us more about the fintech and what that looks like for Eswatini as well as Africa overall.
Thank you, Nombendula. We, as an MTN group, we actually launched in different operations within Africa, mobile money, between 12 and 15 years ago. If I may start to talk about mobile money in Africa. As a group, we now boast over 47 million subscribers within the group. I think it has changed the landscape of doing business in the continent tremendously. It's one of the innovations that we have seen come through in the last 15 years, which has actually enabled businesses to actually communicate with their consumers through payments. So the space of e-commerce has actually been something that we have seen grown in the past 10 to 15 years. So today we'll actually be talking more around how we are actually going to accelerate fintech in the Kingdom of Eswatini.
All right, thank you so much. And just looking at the interchange of the words mobile money and fintech, and just trying to give an understanding of the viewers, also being able to our listeners understanding why now are we saying fintech? Why not stick to the MoMo? And how has, I guess, use of fintech expanded the scope?
Thank you. Definitely from an MTN perspective, MoMo is the way to go. You know, we've got MoMo Pay, we've been having MoMo Business and so forth. But MoMo is actually the channel of how people are actually paying. When we talk fintech, this is tied to our Ambition 2025 goal, the vision of actually building one of the leading fintech platforms in Africa. Likewise, in Eswatini, we also want to build the largest fintech platform, which will actually enable the growth and economic growth in terms of consumers and businesses. So fintech talks to financial technology, using financial and technological solutions to improve the way of lives of the communities that we serve in.
Thank you. And I love how we've already touched on how that speaks to the communities, especially looking at Eswatini. So just to go back to our topic, how can MoMo accelerate the businesses through e-commerce in Eswatini? I want us to talk not only of the large scale, but start from the smaller scale of businesses. Like I'll take, for example, someone Loteng Semagete. How does MoMo feature into that business? The hawkers and your vegetable sellers, your clothing and whatever type of business at a small scale.
Yes, definitely. As I've mentioned, one of our key goals is to change lives or to improve lives. And this talks to financial inclusion. So if we can be able to increase the number of people who are actually included in the financial services space, that also then spills over to economic inclusion. I like your example of a typical vendor. So the vision from a group perspective, and also from MTN Fintech Services perspective, is take Magemota, who stays in Stegi.
Yeah.
Magemota is a vendor. She sells goods and services. Could be a craft, handicraft, and all kinds of services in that particular area that she's staying in Stegi. So we don't actually need Magemota to travel long distances to be able to sell her wares. So let's create a platform where she can actually place those items on a marketplace. So now you're already talking of an online platform. The beauty of that is that actually she doesn't really need to have sophisticated equipment to do that.
Right.
So she can place her goods on marketplace. Then she can also be able to receive payments using mobile money. So someone can buy from Babane goods that are actually in Stegi. And once she receives payment, Margaret can actually put it on the bus and the person receives it, or they can use a courier company, which can also take payments via mobile money. Over and above that, then if she needs to send money, she may have her kids or her suppliers in South Africa. The vision is that we must have remittances going across borders, so she can pay for goods and services across the border. What is actually going to come in future is also enabling her to now also insure her goods and services on the same platform. So we have what we call InsurTech. InsurTech will talk to the ability to insure your goods and services. And then lastly, also what she actually can be able to do, which are services that we are looking at implementing. We've already implemented on the consumer front. We want to implement something similar on the business side, which is basically being able to now get a microloan. If she needs to supply somebody and the demand is higher, she will then need to actually get extra capital to be able to fulfill that demand. That is, in a nutshell, the holistic view of how we actually see the two converging from a consumer space and also to a business. I must say that the growth in MoMo business as we see it in the country has actually been exponential, especially in the last 2 years where we have we've had the pandemic years. Yeah. So a lot of businesses realize that I need to be able to do business even when I'm at home without actually being restricted to movement.
All right. So you've touched on a lot of information there, and one thing I picked out is that holistic story around Magemotsa, and I think it gives our audience the good visual on how exactly does MoMo touch on the customer or even on the business, because Magemotsa at one point she's a customer, a consumer, and then on the other hand she's also doing the business, right? So looking at which point does MoMo come into advancing the business, and you spoke about the platform, which could be translating that market from a physical place onto like commercializing it online. And that's something that we spoke about when you talk about transformation, digital transformation. And it's speaking to how does MTN transform the business landscape, speaking to how MTN MoMo will transform even how payments are being made, and expanding that the market and even increasing the business opportunities. So when you talk about e-commerce, I think you did explain that it's just a translation from a physical place, the marketplace being online. And I think with COVID, again, you did mention that a lot of businesses have suffered from the need to travel when they couldn't travel. So definitely MoMo has come through. Now I wanted to look at all these innovations. How has MoMo helped businesses with the innovation over the past 10 years? You've touched on the payment, and especially around transforming from, instead of ukibela uyopatala somewhere, you can just send the money. And what other ways in terms of MoMo can the business transform, or how is MoMo helping the businesses catch up to the digital platforms and accelerate their way of doing business?
So, Bendulo, in terms of our vision, we actually have what we call unicorns. What has grown and been significantly accepted by our customers in the country is the wallet. That's the first unicorn, which is the ability to send and receive money. So the wallet that we currently have over 600,000 active customers, of which we actually have 750,000 or so registered, but 600,000 of those are actually active, which means that almost everyone in the country has the ability to receive and also pay using mobile money. So I think the growth has been good in that side. We now need to look at the other unicorns. The other unicorns is what I've mentioned when I was talking about Magemotsa's story. It's actually online payments, which is the retail payments that we're looking at. We've already got MoMo Pay online and also online payments as well. We talk about remittances. We want to be able to send money across the border. We are talking about InsurTech. People should be able to do insurance on the platform. And then we're talking about bank tech. Bank tech is the microloans, MoMo advances. That's what we'll be seeing later on in the year. We already have MoMo loans in the market. But what is key around our business model is partnerships. Right. We partner with all kinds of businesses. So when you ask the question about how have we actually improved, we have not only improved the businesses of our small business, but also MFIs, which is microfinance institutions that we've partnered with, insurance providers, which we have partnered with, which are on the platform. So basically, we are making it easier for all these businesses to actually be able to transact on this platform. And definitely what I always say, my analogy is always say that mobile money is like a highway. So our platform is like the highway, but we are creating an ecosystem. When you are traveling to Johannesburg or to SA, you have Share Ultra, you stop by the side, and that's where you actually do all kinds of transactions. Yeah. We actually welcome all kinds of businesses to partner with us, be on the highway, so that when you're close to our highway, you'll ensure that you are part of all the economic activity, because it's easier for people to transact with you. So when we then look at the history, going back in terms of how we've transformed the way of lives of Liswati, in the past 10 years, we have seen a lot of increase in terms of the traffic, in terms of mobile money payments. But significantly, one of our greatest achievements was when we actually got a partnership with our government. Right. So through MoMo Business, we are now able to do social grant disbursements. Mm-hmm. We have been doing social grants disbursements with other NGOs who have been actually either trying to send economic stimulus into our communities. But the partnership with government has actually assisted us to grow even further and actually increase the ecosystem, because as you know, a lot of people in the country do business with government. We are actually moving forward to increasing the number of services with government. We've launched a couple last year, registration, payment of registration. We've also looked at registration of companies, payment. Right. So that is actually ongoing.
Okay. That's a lot of milestones, definitely. And what I've marked on that one is the last point you made on the government, on how exactly the government actually opened up the market. And that speaks to the inclusion. Now you look at Gogo, Nabomkulu, those who are the beneficiaries of the social grants, they get to participate in that. Someone maybe who would ordinarily not be qualified, maybe would have been excluded from our financial sector. But what MoMo has done is include those people. And I think also when you look at the transformation that was brought about by the partnership with the government on the payment for the car and whatever e-gov services that you would need, it really, really, really transforms the life of Liswati. On a personal note, I know the time you spend aligning because of so much need, but with that MoMo coming through, definitely it does impact not only the consumers but the businesses. So thank you.